I ask for the truth on behalf of Nicky Tucker concerning, I suppose, that which is significant. I don't like doing a general reading, but that is as close as we can get to doing it without, sort of as close to answering the question you don't want answered, I suppose, really. Nicky just wanted to know what was for the month of May, which obviously is a bit late now because we're clearing the backlog, so sorry about that, but we're going to ask for the month of June and beyond, up to next June, for the next 12 months. So get your pen ready as we just ask there on behalf of Nicky Tucker for that which is significance for the next 12 months. We ask for guidance and insight here in the name of truth, right conduct, peace, love and non-violence. Blessed be to the truth always. In this particular case it's the supernatural truth, which is always the truth. We'll deal out every third card, and so we don't somehow accidentally draw one instead of three or whatever it is we do. Sometimes it does happen. I prepare it in a sort of logical way I worked out, and it's basically we just go 1, 2, and that pile is the third card. So we go 1, 2, again, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, and again 3 there. And then we'll have every third card. We can just pull out every single card off that deck there, off that pile there, can't we? So it's just my way of, I suppose, doing it. And then it really just makes it idiot proof for me. There. So basically that's the 13. Do we use the 13th card or not? Now of course, as you notice there, the first card that we'll draw is on the bottom of that deck. So either reverse them and just pull them off face up, or just so we can pretend that we deal in every one card instead. What I just simply do now is just reverse it so the first card on the bottom is on the top like that, and that's how I prepare it. That's something I just worked out. Thought, well, that's the only way I can do it, and then just reverse them so you can basically have the bottom card or the first one out there on top, as if we just. I know it's a bit overkill, but where it just makes things easier. Just remember it's that deck we're drawing from. So with that, we'll draw for this month, or for it'll be the month of it's the last day of the last day of May, isn't it now? So this will be for June now. The last day of maybe the last day of June, or the last day of June to July or something like that. I don't know. But this is currently, we don't do the past, we just do from now onwards. I suppose the first card could be perceived as, vibrations from the past, as they all do. They all have an effect on each other, but that's as near to the past as we can get, I suppose you could say. But let's just see what that is right now, and let's just see what energy's knocking around here. Oh, there. We've got bad health. I'm not a doctor, I don't purport to be or anything of that nature. I'm just reading what the cards say for around about now, this end of, last day, or you may as well say June, aren't you, really? There's a spot of bad health. Maybe you're overcoming a fever or the Chinese thing or whatever it may be, but yeah, shake that off, as you say, shake that off, and we can move on to July. But June, you may just find yourself preoccupied a bit, maybe hay fever, allergies, or some other, or just on a basic problem, maybe a long-term health condition. I don't know what it is. But as I say, I'm not a doctor, so I can't say what the health condition is. I'm only going by what the cards are just warning about there. But you probably know anyway. That's a comforting thought, isn't it? So that's your first one there. So moving that aside, we'll see what's next and what's due next. We've got courtship here. I don't know if that's that can be in the literal sense, of course, courtship. I suppose that could be courtship in the literal sense, as in love romance type thing. But usually, if it's like a career thing or whatever, it can just be perceived as what it means, that you're just trying something new. Maybe you're trying a new project out, or at work, or a new exercise regime, or something like that. Or a new diet, or something like that. It could just simply be that. And but there's courtship, so I'm sort of going as though maybe once you've shaken the illness off, yes, it's a romantic thing. There's somebody maybe got their eye on you, you got your eye on, but if I wasn't sneezing all the time or coughing and spitting me guts up or whatever it is, or whatever, or so get that little health problem sorted out there. And once once you shuffle that off, it's time for courtship around about July. So I suppose it's the summer or a late spring. I don't know what you would call it. Let's see what the next one is for August. Bloody hell, the nights are probably going to start drawing out again. Well, I suppose they do after June, don't they? Really, the nights start drawing in again. Days. It's slow, so you don't notice it. But notice here we've got the energy of a message that is often in the Lanneman is a letter, isn't it? It's often the letter which represents a written word, and it just represents the fact that you'll be hearing something, maybe the results of a test or something like that, like a scan result or. Something like that, or it could be a love letter from you-know-who, from his lordship. The plot thickens, but you will be receiving a message. It could be just a text message or an email. I suppose that's what it can represent these days, isn't it? It can just represent a digital format as well, but it's usually the written word sealed in an envelope. It's usually the letter, but he calls it the message. It's the same thing. Let's just see what's around the corner for September here. I suppose as the cold nights start drawing in and we start getting ready again. I'm not quite wearing wearable blankets, but we might have to put a jumper on. Who knows? Here we've got unexpected income. This is often referred to as some money. In the Lanneman thing there's some money, and that it could be like finding something in the kitchen drawer you'd forgotten about, or something under the bed, or just an unexpected maybe an increase in some sort of allowance that you might be claiming, or it could be a one-off, like a windfall type unexpected income. Oh, I wasn't expecting that. And my bank account seems a bit fuller. I mean, I've had a raise, well, 2 or 3 raises just lately. I've been using methods, as you'd say, to do it. But then again, it probably may have happened anyway if I'd have been using those methods or not. But it's nice to just give thanks anyway. I suppose once it happened, you can give thanks to those you've asked for. But in this particular case, we got in here, you probably just come into luck there. I'm not winning it, but certainly you'll find it. You'll discover, oh, bloody hell, I didn't realise there was that $100 in the drawer, or that $300 I left under the mattress, or whatever it was in that old biscuit tin for, I put it there for some Christmas once, or as if you forget it. But it's that sort of thing where you just might find maybe somebody, I won't say gifts it you, but certainly it could be you are given a loan or something, but it's unexpected income. So maybe it's a pay rise. Somebody acknowledges if you're working there, somebody acknowledges that you know we don't want her kicking off and going on strike. So we'll jump before we pushed for September there. Let's see what's going around for October. What's knocking about for October, and that'll be the next one that we deal here. I'll just flip it again, nice and slowly, not to disturb the energy. Although September may be a time for just finding something under the what's it. This is time September. October is the time when you play the lottery, or you just have a flutter maybe. This fruit machine here just indicating a surprise of some a surprise of some kind. Mainly on luck, more than anything there. Mainly to do with luck. So buying a lottery ticket or something like that, it will be, as it says, sudden wealth. It may be a windfall, but it will be like a win in some way. If it is like an allowance or something like a welfare thing you're claiming or whatever, it'll be a one-off, maybe to appease you. Our government is doing all these appeasement payouts, these cost of living payments or something, to sort of appease people because the price is going up. But the payments soon stop and people get poorer again, and people are freezing to death and can't afford a cheese sandwich again. But it's an appeasement they're trying to do because there's general action due. But of course, there's an intent behind that. But in this particular case, of course, in your case, it's, look, maybe that's the gods, maybe you can say a prayer. As I say, I've been using certain methods, sort of making it up as you go along, really, to some degree, but they seem to be working. You know, it could be anything from charging amulets to offering for burnt offerings of ancestor money or anything. I tried with something else totally. I've even tried St Matthew as well, and maybe they're all working, or is it St Matthew? I don't know. I noticed there's a lot of things about St Matthew. Well, I'm not Catholic though, but I've noticed a lot of things connected to St Matthew are rather expensive. Even the basic ones you'd think were cheap for all the others. For some strange reason, it's because he's the accountant, isn't he? The saint of accountants or money. So I suppose people are after a quick fix or a quick bit of help there, and it's going to cost you if you want help. And I think it is rather unethical of those who do that, but they obviously know. But he's helped me. Let's just put it that way. In this particular case, maybe he can help you, or maybe you can pray to your spirit guardians, guides, or whatever, or whatever, or you pray to God, or whatever it is you do. Charge your amulets up, or whatever. Give it a go and say the mantra. Don't know. Do what you feel may work, and if it works, then well, it works for you, doesn't it? So October is your time to just give St Matthew a bit better, just to lean on him a bit, or to rub that amulet just a bit harder, or whatever it is you're using there to, or say a few more mantras than normal, whatever. If you use, of course, if you're using counting beads, prayer beads, they have to be blessed. So that's just a quick tip. But either way, looks at this basically luck on your side there. I'm winning on the lottery more, but I'm only winning like $5 at a time. But it buys you a sort of takeaway on your way back from the shops, so you get a free meal on the way back. So it's something, isn't it? It's a little bit often. It's all about balance, I suppose. But October is the time why I'm sort of thinking as though maybe the gods will look on you with favour, and maybe this is the time when we ought to all watch out here, because the gods may not look on us with favour, but looking on with you with favour, because maybe there's a greater purpose down the line and you've got to survive it because you're needed later on, or something like that. I don't know. There's all these sort of theories you could come up with. They're nice theories, but what's around about November? We've done June, July, August, September, October, and November. June, July, August, September, October. This is November, of course. Sorry, October is when you're winning on the lottery. Remembering who told you. But there are concerns in November. There'll be something of concern. It'll be a case, sort of, oh dear, an oh dear moment. Just as you're celebrating that great win on the lottery, or whatever it is, or just that luck on, just that extra claim going in your favour, or whatever. A sudden surprise. Either way, for October, November is coming back to earth again, with just a few concerns. Maybe it's just time to look out the window there and just think about, well, yeah, but, you know, does the contract for me rent run out or something? Is he going to kick me out? Is he going to try and sell the property and evict me or something, or whatever? So for as much as you might be able to afford the rent, it doesn't mean, could be that, it could be anything, it could absolutely be anything. But this may be for us also, everybody else, to show a bit of concern, because if you are experiencing it, it may be something that we're all experiencing, and it's just showing up as how you're affected by it. So we'll look out for that one in November. Let's just see what's going on in December. What sort of Christmas will you be having, or whatever? Let's just see. Oh, bloody hell. We've got poverty here. It's a harsh contrast from all these lottery wins, isn't it? Or whatever, or this luck with money that you've been having. But certainly, when you look at that though, look at it closely, and you can see it's the land. I mean, it's the cloud, isn't it? The black cloud on that side, and the lighter cloud on the other. It is actually the cloud. It's just he calls it poverty, and maybe for good reason, because the black cloud will be facing toward the past. In this particular case, it's on the side of the past there, isn't it? So obviously the black cloud is behind you, but all this has a black cloud over it. What's happening now, up to December, for the rest of the year, then there is a black cloud hanging over it. Although it looks as though there's good luck coming, which there is, and it tides you over. It sees you through it. It gets you just around that corner until maybe it's the gods having mercy, or whatever you choose to, whatever you choose to do there. But either the concerns are afoot in November, and then December, of course, it's time, the black cloud. But the light side is into the future, so things can only get better from December. Whatever it's concerning you in November, the cloud passes in December. Maybe if you're looking at exact timing, which you can't really, it's just usually one event after another. Maybe, ironically, all this just happens all next week, and it's just one event after another. But I'm doing it as months. We've asked for that, and that's the energy that we've got vibrating now. They're connected to months instead of. But theoretically, it is just one event after another. But in this particular case, the 12-month thing is just as 13. Do we pull the last one out? I don't know. But either way, we're only there. What sort of new year are you going to have? Is that a sign that the black cloud has passed and the light is coming your way? Well, here, notice we've got a wealthy man who's coming into your life. I don't know if you're going to meet him or if he's a boss of a company, but as somebody you know, maybe it's a relative or whatever, or whoever he is, this wealthy man is coming on the scene. Maybe to help you out. I don't know, bail you out, or listen to your sob stories if he's desperate, because he's, you know, of course, if he is desperate in that sort of romantic sort of sense, then you have to consider, you know, is he just trying to buy buy an appeasement? Is he trying to appease himself? But is he just trying to buy some comfort? And that's, I suppose, the catch, isn't it? But in this particular case, notice this man, he comes on the scene for whatever reason. That is who it is. You might know who it is. It might be, like I say, a brother, or you could be absolutely anybody, couldn't it, really? We don't know, but let's we'll just leave him there just for now, and we'll move on to February. January is a new year. Maybe the cloud is passing, and he is the light in the light part of the cloud that's helping you out of the financial rut. But money is going to be a bit tight as a nun's crutch for a bit. So, well, that's probably just gather that and just pop it in a little pile there, can't we? Just carry on. February. So in January, what about February? What's going on there and taking over there for... Oh, bloody hell, some bad news coming in February. Just when, okay, there's somebody there to bail you out financially, but as my grandma always used to say, money doesn't buy happiness. It just means you can be miserable in comfort. And that's basically it. A bit of bad news coming in February. I don't know what it is. I don't know. Death in the family. Something doesn't go through. The wealthy man's lost all his money and gambled it away, drunk it away, or ended up dead and not left it to you. I don't know. It's just... there's a bit of bad news coming your way, so just be prepared for that. That the new black cloud is on the horizon with the looks of it for February. But March there, some time for change. Usually it's the stalks, isn't it, that? But in this particular case he calls it change, but you can see it's relocation. Everybody's packing up and leaving. They're all buggering off, they've all had enough. That's sick of the neighbours. So the bad news is maybe that means you've got to move. Maybe that's when the lease runs out on your rent or something. Or it could be good news in the sense that you come into money and you can afford a bloody house. It's just that the black cloud over there. But the black cloud, there's a touch of financial. Everything isn't as secure as you'd think. Just as your pay goes up, the prices go up. Or as prices go up, your pay goes up, but you're still in the same rut. It's just an appeasement thing. We don't want you on the streets smashing everywhere up and burning places down, do we? But either way, it's time for relocation. And in March, this will be the beginning of meteorological spring. What about April, the beginning of the financial year? Does that show any sort of optimism? Well, more to do with, I suppose, ardent desire, or more to do with, in this particular case, expectation. Just the waiting game, really, in April. there is you will be expecting something, and you'll just be waiting for the results to come through, or the decision to be made, or if you're selling, if you're in a position where you can sell your own home to, man, you're not going to buy a new one until you've got a buyer for your own. But if it's just that relocation there and then this thing in April, it's more just to do with just waiting, really, just sitting around in expectation for what you expect to be next. Although don't expect anything. I suppose really that's a bit like saying don't think of a big red tomato, isn't it? Don't think of a big red tomato. You know, it's asking for trouble. But around about May time, which is in another 12 months' time there, we're coming into great fortune there. Extreme great fortune. So as the wait, it will be worth it. In May, the wait will be over, and it will be well worth it. Just remember his bloody told you. Maybe that's the lottery win after all, and the others are just winning $5 at a time for buy a bag of chips or a bloody hamburger or something. But either way, the big one comes around about May time. Of course, we're back to where we started, aren't we? End of May, early sort of next June. Do we pull card 13 out? Do we want to see what card 13 is? Do you know, I'm going to leave it. We're going to quit while we're ahead, because that's about the best card in the deck. And we can, once the great fortune has taken place and we're doing okay again, it doesn't matter what card 13 is. Lucky for some, I want to leave it. Am I superstitious? Maybe. But for now, we'll leave it at that. Leave it to guess what that could be. But for now, just for now, these cards for you have spoken.